like to feel that we are a video company. So when we say video, we are talking about digital video as a medium for any kind of presentation or any kind of sort of sharing of information. So it's said that a text is something which we all read and we try to interpret it in a way, but a video is something which says more than 1,000 words or a million words. So that's what we try to also focus upon. Video is going to be something which is more easily understandable. It is something which retains much better at the end of a presentation or at the end of a movie. You will retain that the impact of that movie or that video is very stronger than perhaps the text. So this is where I feel that video as a technology is really has a very strong promise for any sort of meeting or anything.
Now you mentioned as video component. What are the components which you actually
Oh yes, components could be displays such as projectors. They could be large displays like what we call as large format displays, which essentially are referred to as TVs in some situations. But we really do not work on the consumer television space. We work on the commercial monitor space. So monitors are primarily, if you equate what a small computer monitor can do for us, but I'm not able to share it with many people. So if in a room like this, if there are maybe 8 people or 10 people, then I need a larger monitor, and that's what we work with. We work with large monitors. Sizes start from anything from 42 inches and onwards, 40 and 42 inches and onwards. So these are the real large monitor spaces that we work on. So it could be a 42-inch monitor, can go up right up to a 103-inch monitor, or a 108-inch, or even now 152-inch single screen monitors. So primarily projectors, there are single monitors, then there are tiled monitors. The ones which you see outside are tiled monitors, which you can create an image using a tiled monitor, which can go to a configuration of up to 10 by 10. So you can have 100 monitors displaying one such single image, or multiple images, or whatever, the collage of video, whichever way you like.
Which is the largest segment the demand comes from for your particular products, these monitors?
Monitors primarily are in the commercial space, in the professional space is what we cater to, so our focus remains there. From our perspective, the largest buyer for this currently for us, professional monitors, is from the corporate, from government, from some of the premier education universities, some of the healthcare segments. It could be in retail segment. So there are various verticals where there is an establishment, like, because it could be in stadiums, wherever you need a large display which caters to a large set of audience. It could be in public utility areas, which is like railway stations or airports. So all these places where you have a large traffic and you are catering to a large number of people is where you require large monitors, large displays.
And these monitors are, how do you, is it you just market it or you manufacture it?
Primarily our forte is system integration. So what we do is we understand requirements of different spaces, because as healthcare would have a different requirement, education would have a different requirement, retail would have a different requirement. So what we do is we understand each and every requirement, and based on that we customize a solution. After customizing the solution, making sure that it is of complete applicability to the customer, then we also do the system integration for that. So we set up the whole system. Like in a public area, we do not want people to touch these monitors or may sort of damage these monitors. So we mount them at a place where they are readable, but they are out of the human touch. Or in a place like a museum, where you want people to touch the monitor to know more about the artifact or the painting which is kept on display. There the display is made within the customer's reach. Or it could be in a retail environment where you want information about where is the section for, say, electronics, or if I want to go to the garment section, so how do I navigate my path within a mall. So there are various applications where system integration is allowing these technologies to be used by the end user.
How different is your product from the current products that are available? What is the technological advancement?
Technology advancement is in two areas. Primarily, one is the technology manufacturers. They themselves are, trying to make technology more and more effective, more and more reliable. And as a result of that, we see better and better technology. The second aspect is in terms of size. The people want larger sizes, even at their homes. If you have a 32, you always aspire for a 42 or a 50-inch TV. So size is the other thing. The other aspect is how energy efficient it is. So there's an environmental concern, there's an eco concern also on that. And I think fourth one, of course, is price. Everybody wants to make sure that they have all these three things and also the cheapest possible price. So the mass appeal or the sort of economies of scale are able to, if they're able to bring the price down, that brings latest technology at a comfortable price. So if it comes at a comfortable price, then adoption happens earlier. If you look at, say for instance, internationally, if you look at the number of malls adopting digital signage, which is one of the forms of digital posters, you will see a lot of static images going away. Like, let's say for instance, cricket matches. If you see cricket matches, the outside the boundary, there is a display which is kept outside the boundary. Earlier, it all used to be static.
Yes, sir.
Now it is all digital. So this is what signage does. It gives you for far more information than what you actually paid for. So that is something which will happen over a period of time. So adoption at malls, adoption at car showrooms, adoption at healthcare and different lobbies, hospital lobbies will all come to digital media. And once digital media is easily developed, it is easily displayed, it is easily distributed, then it has an entire information highway for a whole lot of people to use.
What about upgradation of your this particular?
In fact,
video?
that is one of the biggest
If
advantages.
the person has taken 10 years ago.
Yes.
Suppose he now finds that there is a certain advancement in the technology. How do you incorporate that particular this into this?
Primarily, what is our value in terms of what we do for our customers is try to make the technology as future-proof as possible. Everybody knows that information is available on, say, the internet. So how we use that as a media, or how we use cloud as a media to sort of disseminate the information. So we set up the information at a certain place, and various locations can pull down that information and use it whenever they would like to. So it makes the entire process completely recyclable, reusable. Just imagine if I were to bring out a new product. Okay, I am a brand house like maybe Hindustan Unilever or some other product, and I have a go-to market which says that within 7 days I should be able to disseminate all information all across the country at one go. Now if I were to do that, just imagine the amount of print that I would have to publish, and I have to take prints and make them available, distribute them, and by the time it goes to the market, it perhaps would even take a month time for everybody to receive it, to display it. But if I have a display which is there at maybe my retail showroom or my retail outlet, then with designing the right content, given a right creative input, I can send that information to a central server, and that central server will then be able to disseminate that information overnight, and next day morning, if I have all the information ready, it's ready to display. So it can be that fast. So the beauty of the solution is that it is reusable and replayable, and you can make changes or adapt it to your localized audience in maybe a local language or something like that immediately.
How do you market your product?
Marketing is something which we have not really put our real hands at, but when it comes to communicating, there are a whole lot of there are a whole lot of verticals. So we define which vertical to tap in which way. So we have a success story practically in every vertical, whether it's hospitality, whether it is healthcare, whether it is retail, whether it is corporate enterprise, or so a whole lot of verticals. We want to create at least one success story so that it can be replicated for other customers. So by natural choice of adoption of technology, and by the fact that there are early adopters, the technology gets popular. So it's more on word of mouth, more on I've seen this somewhere, can you do it for us? So that becomes a real marketing tool for us. The other way that we also do is we would like customers to come and visit our experience center. So over here they will come to know in terms of what we are doing and how we are doing, which sort of sets the understanding in terms of this is what they can get, or this is what the technology has to offer currently. So this becomes a unique marketing proposition to the customer.
Who are your main competitors?
There are quite a few. Anybody and any company that understands technology and specifically audiovisual would like to put their hand into this. So there are the large corporations, there are medium-sized corporations, and of course there are like the small fly-by-night companies as well. So there could be any form of competition.
Punit, what's your background actually? This could be an interesting facet to it.
Yeah, academically I'm an engineer by my background, and I'm an electronics engineer. And after that I have done international trade management, diploma in international trade management.
Okay.
So that's my academic background. Then for a couple of years I dabbled with with a job which is something in a similar domain, and then the enterprise bug bit me.
Okay.
So
okay.
that's when
this was in 2005.
This was in 1995. Yeah.
1995.
Yes.
You don't look so old. Second thing is that when you talk about competition, what is your USP? Because I'm sure there will be a lot of people out there trying to import these very stuff.
Yes.
And selling it here. What's your USP?
Yeah, primarily the competition is our internal competition to ourselves in terms of what we did 3 years ago. Can we do something better than that? Some part of this becomes easy because technology always comes in new, so we can adopt that part of the technology. Some part of it is really difficult because some of these could be disruptive technologies, and like people today they want to use gadgets really more than the real input devices that we worked with, like laptops were the order of the day until maybe 3 years back, or maybe even up to as recently as 2.5 years back. But with devices such as tablets and pads and Galaxy tabs and iPads coming in, that is changing the domain for us. So how do we use these technologies to be able for the user to define, because everything is converging today. They want to use devices which are a single device that does all. So that's the kind of competition that we face. It's more driven by the user in terms of how we can give him a better solution for himself. Design is something which is our USP. We are strong on design, so we have our own design team over here which sits.
What do you design?
We design in terms of when we work with architects or when we work with interiors, they will just say that this is the that we have. Now everything that goes inside as far as audiovisual is concerned is our lookout. So that's where what we do is we make sure that with the study that we have about how audio and video works, what is the appropriate kind of screen size, what is the approximate brightness of the projector or the display that we should look at, what is the size of display which we should look at, what is the type or purpose of a room, whether you can switch on or switch off lights in that room. So based on that, whether we should be using a projector or we should be using a large format display, what is the sound reinforcement that may be required. So if it's a large room, then I need speech reinforcement, I need music reinforcement. So all these things are, every living space is different.
Okay.
And every living space has its own dynamic, requirements. it could be a high ceiling, it could be a curved back wall, it could be a, like today people use a lot of glass and a lot of in their interiors. So this is all nightmarish as far as we are concerned.
Acoustics also becomes a part of it.
Absolutely, absolutely. So how to plan with the given acoustics is something which is a real challenge for us. And that is where we come in and give sound professional help to the user to make sure that his experience when he's doing something like a video conferencing, and if he's conducting a video conference with his other office, it is important for the sound to be handled properly so that both of them can have a near real life experience.
True.
Yeah.
Very true. And when it comes to real estate, essentially to do with organized retail, office space, hospitality, and of course IT parks and similar kind of setup.
Yes.
What are your challenges when you actually market it to them? What are your challenges?
Some of
Where do the developers or the architects say, no, either it's too costly or we don't need so much of technology now?
From a developer's point of view, if a developer has primarily focused on residential sort of projects, then they have a certain timeline, because developers buy now and or they sell over a period of time. They sell over a period of say 3 years. And although they would like to use technology and package it along with their sort of solution, which they call as making their apartments technologically very high end, and iPad control houses and stuff like that. So over there, what we see, what is our experience is that it may not work that one size fits all. It's not a cookie cutter kind of a solution, because every user is different. So they have to sort of customize, which is not really easily possible. Second aspect is that as they develop over a period of time, the payment cycles are quite long, and it becomes, so those are some of the challenges which we face when we are doing business with developers in apartment space.
Most of your equipment or material is sold after the office space is already built, or retail mall is built, or whatever the structure is already there. It's like paint or tiles, right? So do challenges of payment also come in?
No, coming back to where you said that our business would happen at the end of the whole process, not exactly. Our projects for AV get awarded at a stage when you're finalizing MEP, when you're finalizing HVAC, or when you're finalizing your layouts.
Okay.
So once your meeting room space is decided, I think by that time even the AV design is finalized and the work is awarded. The reason for that is
investments already started.
Yes. So our investment starts because we have to lay the cables, we have to do the bracketry, the reinforcement for putting up the displays, and then after a while, as the project develops, then we do the final installation, the testing, commissioning, programming, all these things then come in. So the payment cycle can be affected in that sense.
And in terms of regions, various regions in India, where do you find the convenience of doing business?
Mumbai. Without any sort of hesitation, I would like to say Mumbai is by far one of the most professional markets.
Okay.
So doing business is much more convenient in Mumbai, and it's quite a mature market in that sense. Mumbai and Delhi, I think, by far are quite mature
you
markets.
Include Bangalore in this?
Bangalore as well, yes, absolutely.
And how
Mumbai,
much
Bangalore.
will technology savviness actually contribute to the usage of your products being selling?
It always helps. If the customer is a technology savvy customer, then half of our job is done. In terms of usability, is in fact that's where our punchline says it all. Our punchline says that technology simplifies life, and we simplify technology. So this is really it sums up what we really do. There's a lot of technology that can be done, but in terms of how you use it and how simple is it to use is where we come in.
The point is that, Punit, you met several such people of your kind who are into different kinds of products, for instance, security products, electronic security. There, the thumb rule is that whoever is using it should be savvy enough to understand technology. Otherwise, it becomes a failure. You openly admit that. That's why I asked you that pointed question of how much of technology savviness is required in using the products.
In using our products, somebody who I would say, if I were to make a persona of a person who's going to use, he should have knowledge about how to type in an internet address or type an IP address, and be able to understand graphical icons. I think that's it.
Who is
that's it.
using computers?
And should be able to turn on a switch and turn off a switch. So that's the amount of technology savviness we're talking about. So if somebody just knows how to switch on one switch and is able to just access a web browser, or is able to access an on-off switch on an iPad or something like that, that's good enough. The rest of the work is left to us.
What are your future plans?
Future plans is to bring whatever success stories we have to a larger sort of user base. So we are looking at using more and more of these kind of solutions to smaller and medium businesses, because we see that as the next sort of wave in terms of adoption wave, where people will look at technology as a real enabler for them as well. Apart from that, we are looking at a lot of government business as well, where government is also doing a lot of spending. Banks, nationalized banks, also a lot of spending on using information dissemination and technology. Adoption is quite strong there. So we are looking at banks. Hospitality is another sector where there are more and more hotels being built. A lot of international chains of hotels are coming in, and they are the ones that require business centers. They are the ones that corporates patronize in terms of staying and conducting their meetings there as well. A lot of small enterprises or medium-sized enterprises also use their business centers for conducting various meetings. There are a lot of conferences happening over there. So banquet halls is something which is also the more you have banquet halls, the more conferences, then all AV technology is where we will come in.
So other than Mumbai, where else do you have your biggest business coming from?
Our biggest presence comes from, after Mumbai, is from Bangalore and Delhi, almost similar. Then we have presence in Pune, we have presence in Calcutta, we have presence in Chennai, and we have presence in Ahmedabad as well as Hyderabad as well. Okay. So all these locations we are present with our own offices. We have a team strength of almost about 145 people across all these offices. So they are the ones who are implementing some of our solutions locally over there, providing support to local customers over there, and making sure that they are happy with their investments.
Okay. And in terms of the new projects which are coming on, IT, SEZs.
Yes.
Do you have any kind of strategy to meet those demands from there?
Oh yes, absolutely. ITES business are really the early adopters. They are the ones who are always keeping themselves on the cutting edge of technology, and they are the ones who try to acquire business from international partners, international customers. So it makes sense for them to showcase technology in a way where it helps to acquire business for them. So they spend a lot on AV technologies. Most of the IT companies, they spend a lot of money over there.
Just out of curiosity, my last question would be, in terms of office space,
yes,
do you find difference in kind of demands that come from various sectors? For instance, FMCG office, IT office, or any other office?
From a meeting room perspective, I would say not much. But from a boardroom perspective or from a video conferencing perspective, yes, definitely there are differences. If I look at an IT company, they would have more collaboration rooms than maybe an FMCG company, which would be more.
I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
In Bangalore, there was this SEZ, which was set up only for IT.
Okay.
This was, I guess, in 2004 or 5
Uh-huh.
when there was a boom.
Okay.
And finally, the developer, what happened is when IT failed
Yes.
in 2008, they
Yes.
simply vacated that place. I don't know if you know this story.
Yes, I heard about this. I heard about the story. I think it was as recent as a month back, or
No. This is 2008.
No. The story was published very recently, or maybe I would have come
Acha.
across, somebody would have reported it late, perhaps.
Okay.
But yes, I've heard about this, and they converted the use into residential use.
No,
If-
they converted that to knowledge center. What is it called? KP.
Okay.
Okay. Now what happened with the call centers is once they started the call centers and they sold it to people rather for lease, and it failed actually. Even the call centers closed down from there and they had to shift from there.
Hmm.
Now the basic problem is something which nobody could guess. Could you guess?
Oh yes. According to me, what I feel was, if you look at, if you're referring to call centers, so that's what you're referring to, right? So knowledge processing,
Yes.
outsourcing, or these kind of. Primarily, I feel point number one was the cost of acquiring or the cost of rentals became quite prohibitive. Places like
Absolutely.
Bangalore and places like Mumbai, even if I look at, I've
Nobody
seen
can
that.
pay like IT.
Yeah, I have seen that happening with a lot of our customers as well, where people shifted from prime locations such as Powai to as far as Bhayandar. And because of lease rental. So lease rental costs were prohibitively high. Second was cost of manpower was becoming higher. And there were cheaper alternatives available in countries like Philippines, which have a good captive English-speaking, population, and they were able to offer more economical solutions. So we were offered by our sort of call center customers, or the people who are into the business process, BPO business, to do projects for them in Philippines. So that's how things were, because although they did acquire. Some customers over here, but they did acquire some facilities across other countries as well, which Philippines was one of them. And I think as of today, even Philippines has an equal
Absolutely. Punit,
Manpower.
whatever you say is perfectly right. The
Right.
cost of
Manpower,
manpower, all that.
Yeah.
But here, it was quite strange. It
Yeah.
was quite surprising.
Uh-huh.
What happened is, the developers, usually what happens is, when a developer wants to build an IT park,
Right.
he tells an IT park specialist or an architect to build
Right,
it.
right.
And he builds it according to the demands of that particular industry.
Right.
Now, the problem with KPOs is that they couldn't be there for a long time because the number of washrooms for girls were very little in IT parks.
Oh, okay.
Because IT parks usually employ only guys. That's how the trend is. Many
Okay.
girls don't join IT. But in KPOs, it's mostly girls more than boys.
Mm-hmm.
So all these KPOs, the companies had to quit that place. So that's why, even developers or architects couldn't foresee these kind of problems that could come through.
No, but if I go by what I understand, primarily if it's an IT or ITES or BPO, they follow a flat slab design, and they have a very they have toilet blocks which they can design or develop based on the flow traffic and seating patterns and number of people to the number of washrooms.
Yeah.
I'm surprised if people missed
Correct.
that, because if it's a flat slab design, then you can create any infra sort of
Any more number of
I don't think
washrooms.
I don't think that is as difficult a challenge, or it's that people would not read. I have a lot of people who are in the IT space, and they're still ladies, girls, because computer science is something which most of the girls prefer to take it forward. But yeah, I'm sure there must have been something wrong.
Whenever I ask my IIT friends in Mumbai,
Yeah.
they tell me the biggest problem is that there are no girls there.
Yeah, if you look at fields such as geology, metallurgy, mechanical, no girls. But if you look at computer science, electronics, there are fair bit of girls. Yeah, but
We are entering very interesting part of the interview now.
yeah.
Thank you so much for
Knowledge
being
base,
with
yeah.
us.
Yeah,
Thank you.
always a pleasure. Yeah.